Hi, my name is Mika Albania Osharal, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. You are watching TMB Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth about religion, the kingdom of the only true God, the Most High God, and of course the church. So welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I just realized that I'm going live on this camera and not on this camera. I'm not sure if I can change it in mid-flight, but I'm gonna try to see. I don't know why this is happening to me right here, but let's see if we can actually change the camera. Why don't we? Boom. And there it is. All right. I was able to change the camera and now I'm viewing from this camera and not that one. Beautiful, awesome. Again, welcome back. If you are just joining me, my name is Mika Albania Osharal, and this is Truth Matters Broadcasting. Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth for ourselves about religion, the kingdom of the Most High, the only true creator of the heavens and earth, whose name is Yah-Oh. What is his name? His name is Yah-Oh. Now, if you have not heard this name Yah-Oh before, I suggest you go look up the Ravenous Bird on YouTube. Ravenous Bird, Ravenous on Bird, of course, on YouTube, and look up the true name of the Creator. This is our modern day prophet that was sent to us to restore the name of the Most High back to his people. Seems to not be working. What on earth is going on? Okay, now it's back for some reason. Oh, this camera is back. Why is it switching back and forth to two different cameras? I don't know. But I'm going to try to switch it back again because I don't want to be looking here and there. So let me just see if I can switch it back. For those who are joining me on TikTok, you might be wondering why I'm looking to the left or right. That's why. That's why. That's why. So I'm going to go back and see. I don't know why it's switching to this camera, but we'll see. We'll try to get it back to this camera. If not, we're just going to have to work it the way it is. The reason why I don't like to use this integrated camera is because it doesn't give a good view on the feedback on YouTube, and that's why. So we're going to change the camera again. Okay, now I'm back to the forward camera. Hopefully we can get through this. If not, we're just going to do what we're going to do. All right, so let's get it on. So I was watching a movie with my beautiful wife, and of course the message just popped up in my head to ask the question, whose world is this? I don't know if somebody had asked the question, you're looking for the answers, but I was on in the couch and watching this movie with my wife, and that just popped into my head. Whose world, whose earth is this? And this is very, very important because given the light of events, of things that are happening, you're going to see a rapid progression of things happening in this world, even come this year, 2025. Now, I know you heard a lot of false prophet rise and said this is going to happen, like in the 1800s. Let's go back to 1800 and the Millerites movement. This man was reading the Bible and he just go from page to page and figure out that the Jesus Christ is coming back in 1843. That was his first predicament, that Jesus Christ was coming back in 1843. Now, if he was reading just a little further down in the scriptures, and if he was actually reading the word of the one he claimed to follow, he would have known that he said it very, very clearly that no one knows the day nor the hour of his coming. So if he was just reading a little bit more, all the prediction that he was making that the Son of Man would come back on that date or that hour, that time, he would have known that he was wrong. And then he would have stopped that shenanigan. But instead, he carried on. And I'm telling you, in that time, in the 1800s, all of the world believed them. And many people sell their house and their possessions and their goods, going on hills and valleys and by the beach, waiting for the Messiah to come back. And so when he didn't come back in 1843, oh man, it was the time of the Great Depression. It's actually recorded in our history, in the history of America. It is recorded the Great Depression because he didn't come back. And so, of course, they went back and they studied some more. And then they realized, oh, we didn't carry the one. We didn't carry the zero. And I don't know what's going on. So I think somebody's controlling my stuff here because it's doing it all on its own. So I'll be turning from side to side because I can't be bothered. All right. So they went back and they went back and they restudied and they realized they didn't carry the one or they didn't carry the zero or they didn't add the zero and they were like, wait a minute, he's not coming in 1843, he's actually coming in 1844. And so they went back to the drawing board and they studied around and how do you get millions of people who were disappointed the first time to believe the second time? You got to go and tell them you made a mistake. We made a mistake. We didn't count the 0 year. So now the 0 year means that he's not coming in 1843. He's actually coming in 1844. And so, of course, they did the same thing, go in the mountains, go by the beach, in the valley, some going to church, some, fasting, praying, looking for the great day of the coming of the Lord. And of course, he didn't show up. And yes, that sparked a very dark time in the history for the so-called church. And so if you're joining me today, my goal is for you to discern for yourself, not to discern for yourself. Like I can't stress for yourself about religion, the kingdom of God, and the church. Now I make some very bold statements. And I like to lead off with this bold statement because the bold statement I'm making here is that no kingdoms on earth, no kingdom on earth, no kingdoms on earth. I don't care where you come. No kingdom on earth. No government on earth. No government on earth. No nation on earth. No nation on earth. No religion on earth. No religion on earth. And no church on this planet worships the creator of the heavens and earth. That's a bold statement. I'll continue to make that until someone can prove me wrong. You heard me. No kingdoms on earth. No religion on earth. No nation on earth. No government on earth. And no church on earth worship the creator of this planet. And why do we know this? And how do we know this? By his laws. If you read the 10 commandments or 10 words, just look at the 10 words and ask yourself the question, which government on this planet, which government on this planet, which church on this planet, which nation, which kingdom, or which religion on this planet worship the creator of heaven and earth? The one true God. Now, I want you to remember, there is many gods. Even the Creator told his people, he said, you must have no other gods before me. Hear, O Yahusha, the Lord thy God is one. And all of the world worship a triune God in some way, shape, or form. I got to turn on the air conditioning. This fan is just not working. Give me a second. Right? Yeah. In some way, shape, or form, this world worship a triune God in some way, shape, or form. I know, I just realized why I'm so hot. Look at all these lights. Yeah. Ooh, burning me up. Let's turn this one off. You need to turn it away from me. Man, all these lights. Yeah. Ooh, burning up in here. All right. Some way, shape, or form does not worship the Creator. Now, we must understand history, because if you don't understand the historical facts of worship, the historical facts of this world, then you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost in a kingdom. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a kingdom. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in a nation, in a church. You're going to be lost in a religion, in a government, in in a nation, and of course in a church. You're going to be lost. And the remaining few will become atheists or confused. You must understand this. And so I know that I'm only speaking to a very few of you. Very few. This is not the masses. This is not for the masses. The masses are out watching, being entertained, or sleeping, or something, or even getting ready to go to church. The masses are trapped in a maze of confusion, and the truth has eluded them because the truth has become a misconception to them. They misunderstand it. They don't know who it is. All right? They don't know who it is and what it is. And they don't know the God who created the heavens and the earth. And so my attempt here is to speak to OMPP, only Middle Passage people. If you can trace your lineage through the transatlantic slave trade, I am speaking to you. My message is really geared towards you. For those who cannot trace their lineage through the transatlantic slave trade, you are a stranger, or what we modern day people would call a Gentile. You are a stranger. And if you are a stranger, there's only one way for you into the fold. You must read Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah 56. I know you are confused into thinking Jesus is the way. You are confused into thinking Jesus is the way. If you come from a country where Christianity is your base religion, you were fooled, deceived into thinking that Jesus is the way. Now, if you have not seen my many conversations and streaming and broadcasting on that fact, then I suggest you go check that out on one of my social media networks. But I will tell you, for those who are joining me for the first time, this Jesus that we were given as our God and our Savior, and the one who died on the cross for your sins, is an illusion. And I know it's crazy to hear that, especially if you believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord. But if you have the guts or the courage to hear me out, I am going to give you some facts that once you hear it, you cannot deny asking questions. And one thing about information, knowledge is information. That's all it is. It's information. Understanding that information and comprehending that information to act, to have the wisdom to act upon that information, that's a whole different ballgame. And so I'm attempting to unplug you from the matrix. And I'm not going to give you any red pill or blue pill. You choose whether or not you want to be unplugged, or you want to stay in the mess, or running on that rat race on the maze. That's on you. Here are the facts. If Jesus Christ is the name given to you by which you must be saved, where did the name Jesus Christ come from? Where does the name Jesus come from? The question is, you got to ask yourself now, is this: if Jesus is the name given to you, to the world, to be saved, and there's no other name, you got to ask the question, when was the name given? Now, if you're reading your Bibles like I am reading my Bible, and I'm just talking to those who are Christian, who was brought up into Christian religion, not talking about you. I'm not talking to you right now if you're Muslims. I'm not talking to you if you're Buddhist, because you don't read the Bible. I'm talking to those who are brought up in the West, who Christianity was your main religion, or you brought up in some church. If you're reading the Bible, you've got to ask yourself the question, when was the name Jesus given? Was it at his birth, when he was born? Or was the name given before he was born? See, if the name was given before he was born, that means that the name was chosen for him ahead of time. Just like if you have many children, right? I have 7 beautiful children. And I can tell you this, I have not named any of my children at their birth or after their birth. I name my children before they were born. That's why you choose a name for your kid. You don't wait till they're born because you got to sign a birth certificate in the hospital. So you want to have the name ready before they were born. So yes, the name was given before birth. The angel supposedly brought the name Jesus to Mary. So the name was given. Now, here's the thing. If you're a thinking, breathing, understanding, comprehending person, then you have to ask the question, was there any named Jesus in the ancient time when this child was born? Because the name Jesus is not Hebrew nor Greek. There is no Jesus in Hebrew. There's no Jesus in the Greek language. And of course, we're supposed to get our English translation or transliteration from the Greek manuscript. So if there's no Jesus in Hebrew and there's no Jesus in Greek, then how could Jesus be the name given by which everyone on this planet must be saved? There is no letter J in the Hebrew alphabet. Modern Hebrew, Canaanite Hebrew, all these other different Hebrews, even in the source language, the source biblical language of Gabari, the world's first language, there's no letter J. So how can Jesus be the name given? Now, the letter J did not enter the English language, the alphabet. As a matter of fact, it was the last letter to enter the English alphabet. Z is not the last letter, or Z for you politically correct. Z or Z, or whatever you call it, is not the last letter of the alphabet. How many of you knew that? Z is not the last letter of the alphabet. The last letter of the alphabet is J. But then you have to ask the question, why didn't it say X, Y, Z, J? If J was the last letter to enter the English alphabet, why did not J come after Z? So these are good questions to answer. Let's clean this thing here since we're going to be using that. There we go. Now, this is a good question to answer. And someone here, I think C4144 says 1524. You are correct, sir, or ma'am, whoever you are. Yes, the letter J did not enter the English alphabet until sometime after 1524. The letter J is about 400 or 500 years old. So Jesus had to come after 1524. Do you know that in the 1606 King James Version virus of the Bible, the letter J or Jesus was not mentioned? And if I am correct, the 1611 King James Version does not have his name written as Jesus, if I'm correct. It's these modern King James Bible that now holds the name Jesus. Oh, you didn't know there was a 1609 King James Version? And isn't it ironic that 1600, in the 1606, 1611, they make and create the King James Version of the Bible. But in 1619, the first enslaved Yahushural enter the United States of America. So the indoctrination of Jesus comes in just a couple years shy of the indoctrination and enslavement of our ancestors. Because the Greek never called him Jesus. The Greek never called him Jesus. The Hebrews, so-called Hebrews over there, these people who you're looking at as Jews who invade the land and call themselves Jews, are not the people of the book. You were indoctrinated to be Christians. Did you know that? You were indoctrinated to be Christians. There is actually a book out, How to Make a Negro a Christian. You were studied. You, of all people, were studied. There's another book out there, How to Sell to a Negro. All of your invention, everything you ever had was taken from you. And it was prophesied way in advance that this would happen. So you've lost your heritage. You've lost your culture. You've lost your identity. And your identity is wrapped up in your deity. And the identity you and the culture you now have is given to you by your false God. And so when you understand these things, you got to put them back in perspective. And that's why I'm asking the question, whose world, whose earth is this? If you're just joining, my name is Meka Albanya Osharal. Meka Alban Aaron of Yahusharao. And this is Truth Matters Broadcasting. And we're attempting to answer the question, whose world is this? Now, if you were born in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, if you were born after the 20s, after the 1970s, after the 70s, you will think this world belongs to the United States of America. The superpowers of the world at that time fighting for supremacy, and America takes the lead. So you would think this world belongs to America. Because America have about 7, maybe 800 posts in all these nations and all these continents around the world. America is poised for defense as well as for invasion, attack. Who is bad enough to come into the ring with America at this point? So is this world belongs to America? Some might think the world belongs to the papacy. Because we understand that every president on this planet bows down to the Pope. And he is the high priest of the Roman Empire, high priest of Babylon. He is the high priest and father of all religion on this planet. So whose world is this? Is this world belongs to Rome? The answer. You can find the answer right here in Mashaleh, or the book of Psalms, chapter 24. Psalms chapter 24. And Psalms chapter 24 reads like this. It says, the earth is the Lord's, the earth is Yahweh, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the flood. Upon the flood. Who shall ascend in the hills of Yahweh, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive the blessings from Yahweh and righteousness from the God of his salvation. It's powerful. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek his face, O Yahweh. Obakam. That's Jacob. That's Yahusha. That's us. Lift up your head, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? Yahweh, strong and mighty. Yahweh, mighty in battle. You mean this God's gonna fight? Lift up your head, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? Yahweh of hosts. He is the King of glory. Now, when you really dig deep and understand this question and understand that he is in full control, once you understand this, life will be easy for you. Life will be easy for you. The earth belongs to the Creator. Now, I want to show you something. Now that you know now you know who the earth belongs to. I want to show you something now. The prophet Isaiah have something to say about this world. The earth belongs to Yahweh and everything in it. But the prophet Isaiah, along with other prophets, have something to say about this world. And listen to what the prophet Isaiah has to say. Behold, Yahweh, the Lord, maketh the earth empty, and make it waste, and turn it upside down, and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priests, as with the servant, so with the master, as with the maid, so with the mistress, as with the buyer, so the seller, as with the lender, so the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so the giver of usury. Usury is interest. Those who lend money and receive interest. The Lord Yahweh shall be the land, shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh has spoken these words. The earth mourneth and faded away. The world languishes and faded away. The hazy people of the earth languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the law, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burnt, and a few man left. The earth belongs to the Creator, and everything in it belongs to Him. And what is He about to do to it? He's about to destroy it. But make all. Did not God so love the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish but have everlasting life? For God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but through Him the world might be saved. Now how is the prophet going to say He's going to destroy the earth? How are the prophet going to say that when He sent His Son to save the world? You see, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of things you just don't know. There's a lot of things you just don't know. And because you don't know, you are being misled. Because you don't know, you're being deceived. Did God really send His Son into the world to save the world? Now let's read the very word of the one that you claim is your salvation. Let's read the very word of the one you claim is your Lord. Let's read the very word of the one you claim is your salvation that died for your sins. Listen to what it says here. verse 24 of Matthew 15. He says, a matter of fact, yes, 24. Matthew 15:24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I was not sent but to the lost sheep of Israel. What was going on here with the Messiah? Then Yahushua went hence and depart into the course of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of a Canaanite come out to the same course and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, Lord, son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cries after us. And then he says, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of Yahushua. I don't know if any of you got this. He eventually gave the woman some grace because the woman understood that the dogs, even the dogs, eat the crumbs off the master's table. She understood where she stood. And she understood where she stood. And the Messiah made her understand. I was not sent to you. I was sent only to the lost sheep of Yahushua. And the bread that I have is for the children, not for their dogs. You have to understand that any people outside of those that can trace their lineage through the transatlantic slave trade are considered dogs. But if you are a dog, you can understand that even the crumbs off the table you can eat. My point here, ladies and gentlemen, my point here is this. He was not sent to the world. He was not sent to the world. So if God loved the world, there's a couple of questions you have to ask. Why didn't he send his so-called son to the world? The answer to this question is because you don't know this God. If you only knew this God, you would realize that he's a terrible, vengeful, dreadful God. He's a God of war. He's a God that do battle. He's a God that kills. Man, old woman, old men, strong men, young men, children, babies on the breast, dogs and cats and cows and goats. Look at the God you're reading about. Look at him. Because many of you think he's changed. Many of you think he's some sweet, soft, passive God. That he sent this so-called Jesus into the world and he laid all the sins of humanity on this one man. And so the world thinks that this God just so passive that you can just continue to break his laws. You can continue to do what you want to do and come back and you're going to get forgiveness because someone already paid for your sin. I tell you the truth, if someone pays for my sin, then all the sins, and if someone pays for my sin, our sins, you have to ask which sin they pay for because I'm still committing sin. I'm still falling. So if he pays for my sin, that means I have no sin. If you pay for my debt, that means I have no debt. Unless you said, I buy your debt. Now you don't owe your debt because you know I'll owe me. But that's not what the book says. The book says he freely gives. And I tell you, if that is the truth, then there's some explaining needs to be happening. Because when you read the scriptures, again, one of my favorite scriptures to read is the voice of the king. I want to know what he said. I want to know how he said it. And that's why I'm learning to read his language in the source language from which he said it. So I'm not reading a translation so I can misunderstood what he said or misunderstand what he says. I love the word understood. So in Mashleh or Psalms 89 and of verse 34, he says, "My covenant will I not break, nor alter the things that gone out of my lips." What he says, what did the Creator says? He will not break his covenant, nor alter the things that leave his mouth. The Creator says he will not alter the things that left his mouth. His words will not return to him void. That means whatever he said will be. We saw him destroy the earth with a flood, and he killed everybody, but he only saved 8 people. We saw him burn down cities with hundreds and thousands of people living in there. Man, woman, boys, girls, even the darn roach in the walls. He destroyed everything, and he only saves 3. We see this time and time again. Because the earth does not keep his covenant. The earth transgress his laws, change the everlasting. Wait, it says, what did the prophet say? Let's get the prophet word so I don't use mine. What did the prophet say? The prophet Isaiah says, "The earth is also defiled under its inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed his command, the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant." So why is he destroying the earth? Why is he getting ready to do a thing in our time that he have not done in our forefathers' time when we served 400 years of enslavement? Because the time has come. So, you have been deceived. You have been deceived. And who's the one deceiving you? You think it's the devil, don't you? You think the devil has power over you, don't you? You think the white power structure have power over you, don't you? You think the rich has power over you, don't you? The ultimate power of this universe is the creator of the universe. He controls everything. What people don't realize, the devil, Satan, obeys the Father. He's a puppet in the Father's hands to do the Father's bidding. Who do you think put the tree in the middle of the garden? Who do you think allows Satan to go into the garden to tempt the man? I created good and I created evil, say Yahweh. Who do you think created all of it? Yahweh is the one who created all of it. Who put the temptation in the middle of the garden? Yahweh. Who created death? Yahweh. He's the one. He's the giver of life and death. Who do you think fall the rain? Who do you think send the sun? Nothing can happen without him. You were misunderstood, misguided, and misled, and bamboozled into believing it is Jesus. And that's where you're going wrong. The very word that is translated Jesus, if you really was to do a research and look at it, what the word means, it will blow you away. But they substitute the meaning and tell you it means God is salvation. His name does not point to him. It points to the one who is. Only Yahweh alone is salvation. That is why the true Messiah is preached, pray to the Father. Never once he ever said, pray to me. He said, pray in my name. Pray in my name is not praying to me. It's just like I go to you and say, hey, my mom said this. I'm telling you what my mother said because I'm telling you it comes from my mom. But everybody's praying to Jesus, not knowing that the character, the white, blonde hair, the white man, because I can't even say blonde hair, blue eyes, because sometimes he appears with dark hair and brown eyes. The white man that you worship as your God, as Jesus, is an imposter. The true Messiah is of melanin, is black like me and you. And so you were given a false narrative to worship. And that's this white Jesus and these white Jews were put there by the powers that be, by the Creator, to mislead you into thinking that this is the way it is. Because only the wise shall understand. Only the wise shall understand. And he gives his secrets to his servants, the prophet. If you want the truth, you got to go through the prophets. It's how he set the setup. Amos chapter 3 and verse 7 says, surely Yahweh, our Elohim, the Lord God will do nothing, but he reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. You want to know the truth? You got to go to the prophets. That is why I told you that if this so-called Jesus preach against the prophets or preach a message that the prophets themselves didn't preach, the transliteration has driven people mad. And they take the true Messiah's word and twist it. There's no heaven for you to go to, my friend. No one is coming to save you. You will not die and go to heaven, nor will you die and go to hell. Hell is the grave. The Messiah himself said, no one has gone up to heaven except from that which comes down from heaven. No one can penetrate the dome. No one. You look at the scriptures. Where was Abraham buried? In a grave, and he's resting. Where did David buried? In a grave, and he's rested. Where are all the prophets buried? In graves. There's one that was taken up in a fire chariot, and that was Elijah. And the Creator can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants it. Marsha's body, we have no idea where it is. Because Yahweh buried that body. So as far as we know, there are about two people that we know that end up that the Creator took up to heaven. The Messiah went up to heaven. But as far as we know, nobody else go up there. Everybody awaited judgment, whether you're living or you're dead. Heaven, here's a secret nobody told you. Here's a secret nobody told you. Heaven is coming to earth. Nobody told you that. You're so busy looking to go to heaven. That's where you're going to enjoy your good life. But you don't realize that heaven is coming to earth. The kingdom of heaven is near. It's coming to earth. That's why I can tell you no kingdom on earth worships the creator. From AD 70, when we were driven out and our temple got destroyed, we were never a nation since that time till today. We're food for the dogs and enslavement. But now the time has come where the Creator is gathering his remnant. And the remnant is gathered in the wilderness. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all see the fires that are happening. Never a fire of this magnitude has burned like this. It's burning ferociously, destroying houses. And if you notice, the houses where it started, all these millions of dollars of houses burned to the ground. And it's uncontrollable. They can't contain it. Who do you think sent that fire? Who do y'all think sent that fire? Who do you think drying up the water in China? China water supply is drying up. Who do you think sending bizarre weather all over the country in places where snows and hail didn't fall before? Who do you think sending all the floods and flooding out people's places? You're going to see things that you've never seen. Earthquake in magnitude you've never seen. Tornadoes and lava coming out from under the earth in places you've never seen. Fire falling from heaven that you've never seen. The Creator is getting ready this year to do some things you have never seen. 2025 is going to be a year to remember. And those who hear the word, those who hear the shofar blow, the shofar of the name Yahweh, and flee the land of your enslavement, flee the land of your slave masters and its ally, and gather in the wilderness of Cebu, Philippines. If you're not given two wings like an eagle to fly into the wilderness, you're going to be crushed. The Creator is about to reveal himself like he's done in the past. And he's going to reveal himself through his people like he's done in the past. And every one of you going to know that we who come from the transatlantic slave trade are the true people of God and not those so-called people who are masquerading as Jews. You think Israel gets his protection from the Creator? Israel gets his protection from America. America is, and the British is what create Israel to mislead the people into believing those are God's people. Wait till you find out for certain that we are the true people. Wait till you find out. You're going to see it. He said, then the heathens will know. The reason why we know is because he sent us a prophet. We have a prophet living among us. I am so blessed and honored to be living in the time of a living prophet. a black man like myself, speaking the ancient tongue of Gabari in our own language. I am learning to speak our language, learning to understand the commandments and precepts of our Creator in the language He spoke to our people. Wayad bar ala aim al kal hadabarim hala lamar anake yao ale ala 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 how could I never press word ala eka ashar hosetheka matzarat matzarim mabait gavadim, to speak in our language and understand the word of the Creator in our language, and to realize the transliteration, the mistakes of the transliteration in the King James virus of the Bible, and correcting those transliteration, and to get insight that you've never had before, because you've never had a prophet to truly restore the counsels of the Creator. It's beautiful. We have crushed the ravenous bird, written of by the prophet in Isaiah 46, verse 11. We're living in the time. And he has a YouTube channel out called The Ravenous Bird. And there you can find the true names of the Creator, the true name of the Creator. There you can find brought by ships, how and why. There you can find leave on wings, why you should leave America and its ally and gather in the wilderness. There you will find why Cebu, Philippines. Why Cebu, Philippines? You're going to understand it all. But just like Noah, he built the ark, took him 120 years, and he couldn't even convince his own mother. Noah could not convince his own mother. He couldn't convince his own brother. He couldn't, brothers, sisters, cousins, friends. He couldn't convince his father, co-workers, neighbors. The only people that listened to him was his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. You think he gone soft? Vengeance is mine, saith Yahweh, and I will repay. Now, who is he taking vengeance on? He's taking vengeance on those who took vengeance on you. His enemies are your enemies. The white power structure of this world, the nations of this world that does not honor him as king. Why did he say? What did the prophet says? He says he's going to destroy the earth because they changed his ordinance, transgressed his laws, and broke the everlasting covenant. You don't think he's going to come take full control of this earth? You don't think he's going to put it back in order? He's going to put it back in order. The Creator does not speak to this world. The Creator speaks to his people. Always have, always will be. The Creator does not speak to anyone outside of a covenant. Hear me, ladies and gentlemen. You think going to church, listening to some pastor, you think listening to some president, listening to some religion is going to save you? The Creator does not speak to a government. He does not speak to a religion. He does not speak to any pastors or preachers. He speak through his prophet. And he speak to his people. And any stranger that is not his people, he gave you an open door. Watch this. Let's look at the prophet Isaiah once again. Let's look at the prophet Isaiah, and this time I'm going to read verse 56. I want you to listen to what the prophet Isaiah has to say. Watch this. Thus saith Yahweh, thus saith the Lord. Who's speaking? Any prophet always come and say what the Lord says, what Yahweh says. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh. This is what it says. Keep your judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, son of man that lay hold on it, that keep the Shabbat from polluting it, and keep his hands from doing evil. You know what the Shabbat is? The Shabbat is a covenant, an everlasting covenant. The world breaks the Shabbat. And those Seventh-day Adventists and so-called Jews over here who believe that they're keeping the Shabbat, they keep it from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. You are gravely mistaken. The Shabbat doesn't start at sundown. It starts at sunrise. And so the Shabbat is kept from Saturday morning to Sunday morning. That's when the Shabbat is kept. So you were bamboozled into keeping the Shabbat from sunset Friday to sunset Saturday, keeping the Shabbat in vain. The true Shabbat is kept Saturday morning and finished Sunday morning. So the world has breaking the Shabbat, the everlasting covenant. So watch this now. Verse 3. Neither let the son of a stranger that has joined himself to Yahweh speaking, saying, Yahweh has utterly separated me from his people. The strangers who has joined themselves to the Creator recognize that they are not of the covenant bloodline of the Creator. And they said, surely he has separated us from his people. That means those who are not of the bloodline recognize that they are not of the bloodline. But they want in, and they feel separated. Now jump down to verse 6. Verse 6 of Isaiah 56. Also let the son of a stranger that join themselves to Yahweh to serve him and to love the name Yahweh, to be his servant, everyone that keepeth the Shabbat from polluting it and taking hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offering and their sacrifice shall be accepted upon my altar. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. Yahweh, or Alaim, which gathereth the outcasts of Yahosharal, yet will I gather others to him besides those that are gathered unto him. So what is the Creator telling you? This is your way in. It's not through some phony that died on some cross. You don't get in by someone dying on a cross for you. No one can pay for your sins. Let's go see what another prophet has to say about this. No one can pay for your sins. Someone asks, how is sin forgiven? Watch this. Here's the answer from Ezekiel 18 and verse 20. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquities of the father, neither shall the Father bear the iniquities of the Son. The righteous of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. But if the wicked will turn from his sins that he has committed, and keep all my statutes, and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live, he shall not die. So you're telling me there's a way to be saved from your sin? You're telling me that if there's a way outside of someone dying on the cross for me? Remember, I read to you in Psalms 89. He said he will not alter the thing that gone out of his mouth. If he send a person to die for you, then he has altered the thing that gone out of his mouth. Because he said, the soul that sin is the soul that dies. And how do one get salvation here? The Son shall not bear the iniquities of the Father, neither shall the Father bear the iniquities of the Son. The righteous of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wicked of the wicked shall be upon him. But if a wicked man will turn from his sins, it did not say accept Jesus Christ as Lord or pray him into your heart. No. But if the wicked man will turn from all his sins and he has committed and keep my statute and keep my statutes and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live. He shall not die. Is it not the same thing the prophet Isaiah is telling the stranger? Also the son of a stranger that joined himself to Yahweh, to serve him, to love the name Yahweh, to be his servant. Everyone that keeps the Shabbat from polluting it and take hold of what? His covenant. That means you have to do some things. You don't pray Jesus into your heart. You don't accept some fairy tale. This is what you have to do. The first thing you have to do is you have to join yourself to him. You have to get to know him. Secondly, you got to serve him. How do you serve him? By keeping his commandments, by obeying him. Then what else you got to do? You got to love his name. How can you love his name but you don't know it? If I was to ask you, what is his name? Masha asked the question, what is your name? When I go to the children of Yahushua and say, hey, the God of your forefathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob sent me, what must I tell them? When they ask me your name, what must I say? This darn thing here. When they ask me your name, what must I say? See, you don't see it written in there. They have his name as Jehovah in this book. But when Masha asked him, what is your name? Why they didn't put the name Jehovah there? Why didn't they put the name Jehovah? Why did they write it elsewhere that his name is Jehovah? Why didn't they put it there when Masha, aka Moses, asked him, what is your name? They should have put Jehovah there. But we know his name is not Jehovah because I told you that there was no letter J before the year 1524. So his name could never be Jehovah. So they substitute his name with Lord. Do you know that Lord is not a name? Lord is a title. It means owner. That's why we say Lord God. Now, God is not a name. God is also a title. Father is not a name. Father is a title. When we pray, we say, our Father. Father denotes ownership. It denotes source. It means he's our source. We must understand that. So these are all titles. His name is Yahweh. We don't worship Jesus. We don't worship Jehovah. We don't worship Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Yeshua. We don't worship that. That's not the God of the true, original Hebrew. The God of the true, original Hebrew, his name is Yahweh. That's his name. Yahweh is his name. Yahweh is the Creator's name. That's the God we worship. Now, if you ask a Jewish man today, go ask him. If you ever pass a Jew, ask him, what is the God? What is the name of your God? They can't tell you. You know why they can't tell you? Because it's forbidden for them to utter the name of their God. It's blasphemy to them to utter the name of God. That's why they say, Lord, my Almighty, or the God of Abraham, or the God of our fathers. But the God that we worship tells us his name. If we didn't know his name, ladies and gentlemen, how could he put it in the top 10 commandments? Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord thy God will not hold him guiltless who taketh his name in vain. How can you take something in vain if you don't know it? Spell his name. His name is spelled Y-A apostrophe O-H. It's the pronunciation. It's a sound that is important. Yah-O. Yah-O. Y-A apostrophe O-H. Yah-O. And the name of the Messiah is Yahweh-Shoai. Yahweh-Shoai. Yahweh-Shoai, which means God is salvation. Most people not reading the Bible. The very Jesus they claim to worship is telling them, I have a God. I have a God. When he was on the cross, the so-called cross, what did he say? My God, why have you forsaken me? When he came out of the grave, what did he say to his disciples? Go tell my disciples, Mary, go tell my disciples that I ascended to my Father and your Father, my God and your God. Yeah, he has a God. How can he be a God if he has a God? You can understand these things. He has a God. The Father is God. And if you go further in the so-called stupid Gospels, he said there's only one God. The Father alone is God. That's his teaching. But nobody's paying attention to that because they worship him as God. How can you call me God? He said. There's only one God. How can you call me good? There's only one that is good, and that's God, our Father in heaven. They just throw those scriptures away because they want to make Jesus God. Jesus ain't no God. Jesus is an imposter given to you by the white power structure of this world so that to make you look at them as God. That's why anytime you see a white person, you always see the image of your God. Because the power structure of the God that you worship is white. So every time you see a white person, you're looking at your God. Does not the Bible says the God of heaven create man in his own image and after his own likeness? Isn't that what you read? Come on, talk to me. Isn't that what you read? So if your God is Jesus, who looks like Jesus, the Jews over there, they look like Jesus. They're white people. The white power structure of the world, they look like Jesus. So if God created man in his own image, then that means God looked like them. And since he doesn't look like you, because you're different, you're black, then common sense would say, if you're a thinking, reasonable person, you would say that the white man create us. The white power structure creates us. Because if God created man in his own image after his own likeness, and the white man was first, every movie you watch, you see Adam and Eve as white. Every movie you watch. So when you look at Jesus, who is white, when you look at the white power structure, you think that they're your God. And you will bow down to them in ease. That's why they could do anything to you and you will forgive them. Easy. I forgive you. Easy. Because you're looking at your God. But then the historical evidence doesn't back that up. Because the white skin, if you have white skin, you are recessive. And that's a fact. The melanin carbonated man or the black man is the dominant man. That's, listen to me, that's scientific if that's your God. Now, science tells us you cannot get the dominant carbonated melanin man like me out of the recessive white power structure. The white man cannot create me. The white man with the white woman cannot create me. But me, the black man, with the black woman, create the white man. That's scientific. It's scientifically proven. The black man is the dominant man. And if the black man is the dominant man, that means the black man was here first. Because if the black man cannot come from the white man, how do you explain it? The black man. That's why they claim that we come from monkeys. But we never lived in caves. We never lived in caves. How can we come from monkeys? We never swing from trees. How can we come from monkeys? And if we come from monkeys, why are we not still coming from monkeys today? They're still monkeys. What happened? The evolution of life to stop the process? And evolution is supposed to continue. Evolution can't be stopped. So how come monkeys are not creating human beings? Come on, man. The black man is the first man. The black woman is the only woman on the planet that carries the Eve gene. The black woman is the oldest living skull they found to date. The black man has 9 strands of DNA in his body. The only man on earth that has 9 DNA strands in his DNA cycle. The black man is the first man. And the Creator is going to set everything back in order. Now, not all black people are from the tribes of Yahusha. Not all black people are from the covenant people. If you are a covenant child, you have to be able to trace your lineage through the transatlantic slave trade. If you cannot trace your lineage through the transatlantic slave trade, you are not the covenant seed. You might be the seed of Abraham. Don't get me wrong there. He had an illegitimate son. Isaac had twin boys, but one wasn't chosen. The other was. So you can trace your lineage back to Abraham, but you're not the covenant child. You see, the covenant child have to go under a 400-year curse. Isn't it amazing to think the transatlantic slave trade 1619, but ends in 20. Mike is gone. I'm still going. Let me see. I have to say, okay, just making sure the mic working. I have to say, guys, my little common brain here has just been thinking, looking at the times. 1609, the first print of the King James Version. 1611, the second print of the King James Version. 1619, the first slaves enter America, and from America into the Caribbean and different places all over. The Spaniards, the British. Remember now, British are England, are Spain, are the Spanish countries, Spaniards, Portuguese, Germans, Italians. They're all Romans. The Roman Empire was dissolved in the year 476 AD. And if you look at who are Romans today and look at the transatlantic slave trade, you will see that the transatlantic slave trade was purposely and maliciously carried out by the descendants of Rome. And that fulfills Daniel chapter 2. So when I look at Daniel chapter 2, Rome, look at the dispensation of time where we are today, 1619, and I look at all the wars that fought during that time till now, and all the empires that clashed, nations that clashed, earthquake that came, tsunami that came and killed off many people. All the events that happened today, happened from that time to now. I started to look at it and say, wait a minute, where was the voice? Where was the voice of the Creator all this time? It's as if he went blank. You see, he has a people on the planet, and when the people are not doing what they said, he pronounced a sentence on them, a 400-year enslavement. And that time had to pass. Now, here's what I'm looking at. So 1619 to 2019, and then a pandemic was sent by the Creator that shuts down the world. I look back in history and I can't tell of a moment when the earth was shut down other than when the Creator sent the flood. So if you look at the time of the flood till now and look at the events that happened, like for instance, after the flood, what happened? Everybody should have known the Creator, don't it? Everybody should have known the story because he had 8 people in the ark who knew the story, that knew that they're the proprietor of the world. They're the one that was given the world that broke up into 3 sectors. They had to tell everybody about the Creator. They had to tell everybody what the Creator did. And then here's a guy named Nimrod who came up in chapter 11 of Genesis, Torah 1, and he says, I don't want to worship the Creator. I want everybody to worship me. And instead of populating the earth like the Creator command, they decided we're going to stay right here. We're not doing it, and we're going to build a tower high enough that just in case the Creator try to flood the earth again, we'll be safe in our tower. But most and important, we're going to get up to heaven and kill this man, this Creator. That was their planning. Their plan was to build a tower to the heavens so they can go up there and dethrone the king. Now, why Nimrod would have come up with something like that? What? But did he not learn from his fathers, his grandfather? But you see, if you notice, he comes from the line of Cain. So he heard what happened, and he vexed. I'm just speculating here, guys, but I'm just looking at our history. Then the Creator comes down, see what they were doing, and confound the language. And so instead of everybody speaking Gabari like you heard me speaking just now, why at the bar ala aim at the at call halabarim ha Allah lamar anake yao ala eka hosatea. Instead of we speaking like how we speak in the world, speaking the one language, now the world starts speaking Spanish and Chinese, and Japanese and Patois and all these different things. He confounded language. And so the world was divided into languages. But the source language of Kabari was still there. And that was the language in which the Creator speaks to his people. He didn't speak to them in the rebellious language. Do you know that English is a rebellious language? A language that causes spell and confusion? Chinese, Japanese, all these languages are a language of rebellion. Did you know that? Yeah, he confounded language. And why did he do it? So that they would not understand each other. And so he's continued to speak to his people in Gabari. But he's not. If you notice the language. Who are the God of the Chinese? Who are the God of the Japanese? What is the name of the God of the Chinese? What is the name of the God of the Japanese? What is the name of the God of these nations that speak these languages? What is the German God's name? They're Roman gods. They're Asian gods. Because they all roam. And Rome worshiped many gods. And every country and every ethnicity has a deity behind it. So what did this God have? What does the creator of the heavens and the earth have? Who is worshiping him? Nobody. Nobody was worshiping him. So what did he do? He looked at the earth and he saw the smallest nation of people. From the smallest nothing, he took one man. One man. This man, Abram. And he said to Abram, he said, listen to me. I'm going to make a covenant with you and with your descendants after you. And all the nation of the world will be blessed because of you. Why is that? Because the world is going to know me through you and your descendants forever. And from that point on till today, the Creator is speaking only through this one man and his descendants. Let's go to Genesis 15 here. Leave the land of your forefathers, he said, and come to a place where I'm going to show you. And I will make of you a great nation. Kings will come out of you. All right. Verse 3, let's look at Genesis 13 first. Oh, no. Wait. Not Genesis 13. After the covenant with Noah, descendants of Noah, Tower of Babel, the call of Abram, 12. Now, Yahweh has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kinsmen, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Y'all see what coming here? This one man will change the face of the earth forever. This one man, the Creator, is going to speak through him and his descendants. And verse 4 says, so Abram departed as Yahweh spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of his father's house. And of course, he took his wife and everybody his own. Verse 7, and Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed, listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Listen carefully. Unto thy seed, I will give this land, and there built he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. What did the Yahweh says? And Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, unto your seed he's going to give this land. And he built an altar. And then he removed from there and to the mountain of east of Bethel, and he pitched a tent, and so on and so forth. Then he built an altar unto Yahweh and called upon the name of Yahweh. And Abraham journeyed going on still towards the south. And then he went into Egypt, and there was a famine there, and all these things start to play out. Now, let's gather up here into, let's see here. Okay, this is Melchizedek in chapter 14, the war, and Melchizedek came and blessed him. But let's go into verse 15 now. Chapter 15 now. After these things, the word of Yahweh came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceedingly great reward. And Abram said unto Yahweh, What will you give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is Eliezer from Damascus. Now, if Abraham was sensible at the time, he would have understood what the Creator said to him over here in chapter 12. In chapter 12, what did he say to him? He said, Now, let's read it again. Chapter 12, verse 1. Now Yahweh has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kinsmen and from thy father's house unto the land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation. How is he going to do it? You have to give him children. And I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And then he called him and he says, in verse 7 here, And Yahweh appeared unto him, Abraham, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. So he should have known he was going to have children. But like all of us, we always jump the gun, Then he comes and said, What will you give me, since you give me no children? I guess he wanted now. He wanted the children now. Right? And so verse 3, And behold, and Abraham said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house should be my heir. And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto Abram, saying, This shall not be thy heir, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be your heir. And he brought him tell the stars, if they be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed, Abraham believed in Yahweh, and he accounted him as righteousness. He actually believed this man. And he said unto him, I am Yahweh, that have brought thee out of Ur, out of Chaldean, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Yahweh, whereby shall I know? Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. He said unto him, Yahweh, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? How am I going to know what, when, how I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the bird he divided not. Verse 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, this is why I'm telling you. If you cannot trace your lineage through the transatlantic slave trade, you are not the covenant seed. If you can trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, You are that child. You are that covenant children. Watch this, verse 13. Genesis 15 and 13. And he said unto Abraham, know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Y'all heard that? Now, this is before Abraham had any children. How will I know this? How will I know that I will inherit this land? He said, know for certain your seed will be in a land that is not their own, not this land that I'm giving you, but they're going to be in a land not their own, and they'll be afflicted 400 years. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to go back to history now. You heard me saying these people who call themselves Jews were occupying the promised land. If they are the children of the promise, they have to have a 400-year enslavement in a land that doesn't belong to them. Now you go look at the history book and see if you can find a time in history where these people have been enslaved 400 years. Secondly, go look in history if you see these people being afflicted in that same land for 400 years. Go ask yourself the question, could these people endure a 400-year of enslavement in Egypt? They're white people. They call themselves Jews, but they're white people. And my question to you is, could these white people survive in Egypt, in the dead of Africa, because Egypt is Africa, in the desert for 400 years? Not even 400 years, 200 plus years, because they were never enslaved in Egypt for 400 years. Most people don't know that either. So some 200 plus years, the children of Yahushua was enslaved in Egypt. The whole time in Egypt, from the time Joseph went down there to the time they come out of Egypt, was 430 years. Now I'm asking you guys just to use your common sense here and tell me, could they survive in Egypt, building those pyramids, working those hay straw, building bricks under taskmaster's whip from sunup to sundown for 200 plus years? You think they could survive? Let me ask you a question. How long do you think a white man could survive in the desert under taskmaster's whip, working out in the sun? I'm not talking about working and going for water and going for drink. I'm talking about as a slave, being driven and beaten like a dog. They couldn't survive it. They can't be people of the sun. You look at the pyramids, man. You look at the pyramids, you look at the hieroglyphs, you will see the true people. The true Egyptians were black. The true people of the book are black people. It's our story. The Bible is written for us. Since this time, the Creator has spoken only through this seed. That's why every time before, speak to the children of Yahushua. Now, Abraham, you know the story with Abraham. He had a legitimate child, Ishmael, Yahushmael, and he was not the covenant child, but he became a great nation, led to the Arabians and the Arabs, which are also black too. And Isaac. Isaac had twin boys. One the father said he hates, the other one he loves. Esau was not the covenant child, but Jacob was. Yaakov Kahab was the covenant child, which the Creator loved. And then that covenant child has 12 children with 4 different women. And those 12 children becomes the children of Yahusha. And of course, going through the story, the events, one of the brothers, Joseph, Yahusap, was loved dearly by the father. The other kids was envious, wanted to kill him, but they came up with a plan to sell him into slavery. They sold their brother into slavery, went to Egypt. The creator's mark, hands was on him, and started to do real good things there in Egypt through him. And he becomes the second highest ruler of the land, and make Egypt the most powerful nation on earth. And then he sent for his brothers and his father, and they came down there, and we lived in Goshen, of which we multiply like flies and like roaches. And then the Egyptians got scared of us and make us slaves. But we never spent 400 years there. And then when the Creator brought us out of enslavement, he used our brother, Masha, aka Moses, because he used his people for his people. He sent his people to his people. That's how it works. He doesn't send an outsider to his people. No. And when he sent his people to outsiders, he's either to destroy them, or to give them an opportunity to repent, or to judge them. He always speaks to his people. So if someone's talking to you and they're not of Yahusha, don't hear them. They're telling you lies. And so you pick it up now in Exodus when he devastated Egypt and he brought his children out of Egypt. And we can pick that up in Exodus chapter 19. And he says here, listen to this, verse 4. Exodus chapter 19, verse 4, he says, let's go to verse 3. And Moshe went up unto God, Yahweh, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thou shalt thus say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. Who is he speaking to? The children of Israel, the house of Jacob. He doesn't speak to no one else. There were Egyptians here at this time, even though they were devastated. They saw his power. They knew what he was. He wasn't speaking to the Egyptians. He wasn't speaking to I always say the Philippines. He wasn't speaking to the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Philistines. They all have their own gods. They all worship their own God. He's speaking to the children of Israel, the children, the true children. And I want you to hear what he says. This is what he says. Now therefore, he says, you have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. These are the words that thou shalt speak unto the children of Yahusha. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear that. Let me say it again. You see what I did to the Egyptians. The Creator is not playing. He's going to devastate these whores. Because that's what they are. Whores. Dogs. He's going to devastate them. You know why? They don't honor him as God. The earth belongs to him. And they want to run the earth for themselves. It doesn't work like that. He's the only power. He's the ultimate power. And we're his only people. And so he said, you see what I did to the Egyptians? I did that to the Egyptians. I did that to the Egyptians because they hold you as slaves. I did that to the Egyptians because you bear my name. I did that to the Egyptians because I made a promise to my friend. And now I'm fulfilling this promise to my friend. And I'm going to bring you to the land. And that was the plan. He was going to bring us to the land. We were going to destroy all the nations around. We did for a time. But we kept worshiping the nation's gods and breaking his statutes and his decrees and his commands. And he devastated them. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. The command is always the same. Obey my voice and and keep my covenant. That is always the same. It's never going to change. If you will obey my voice, if you will turn away from your sins and keep my covenant and obey my voice, then you shall live. It's always going to be the same. Watch this now. After that, he gave them his 10 commandments. These are the words spoken by the Creator. He didn't interpret these words. They all heard it. Read down in verse 19. Verse 19. Let me see here. Let's see. Priest said to Moses, I will come. Verse 9 of verse 19. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, Lo, I will come unto thee in the thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moshe told the word unto the people, and told the words of the people unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and I will and tell them to wash their clothes and be ready again the third day. For the third day, Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people upon the mountain. And thou shalt set boundaries around the mountain, saying, Take heed to yourself that you go not or touch near the border, and so on and so forth. So the Creator was coming down. He told them to wash their clothes. He told them all these things that they must do because he's coming down. And when it come to pass, watch this now, verse 16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there was thunder and lightning and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and the voice of a trumpet exceedingly loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. So he didn't just come up here like some volcano. It wasn't like a volcano where the mountain just got smoking. Yahweh wanted them to know that he was there. They saw this coming down from heaven. But not only that, but he started blasting trumpet. The angels start trumping because the king is coming. So they heard the trumpet sound. They see the lightning and thunder gashing. And then watch this. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with Yahweh. And they stood at the nearest part of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was altogether on smoke, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire. And the smoke therefore ascended as a smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded louder and louder, waxed loud and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered by a voice. And Yahweh came down upon the mountain, on the top of the mountain, and Yahweh called to Moses, must call Moses up on top of the mountain. And Moses went up. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people not to come up, and so on and so forth. And then as he does that, watch this. Then Yahweh spoke. The people heard the voice of Yahweh for the first time. Then watch this. What he says. First thing, Wayed Bar Alaim. He says, and God spoke all these words. I am the Lord thy God. I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Can you imagine that? Because they're coming out of a land. They're coming out of a place where the people worship many gods. So the Creator wanted them to know, I am one God. There is no worship of no two triune God or many gods for different atmosphere or different things. I am the only true God. Hear, O Yahosharal, Shema Yahosharal, Yahoo Alaeno, Yahoo Achad. Shema Yahosharal, Yahoo Alaeno, Yahoo Achad. Hear, O Israel. Hear, O Yahusharal. Yahweh, your higher power is one. First thing he told them. First thing he told them. So if you're worshiping a triune God, if your God is 3 in 1 or 1 in 3, I am telling you, you're not worshiping this one. No place has the prophet ever mentioned a triune God. You're crazy? That's blasphemy. The God who creates the universe is one God. There's no one like him. No one besides him. Besides him, there's no other God. He's not 3 in 1, 1 in 3 person. He's one God. And of course, he gave them all of the commands. Then watch what happened. People receive it. They were happy. Yay! No. Watch what happened after verse 19 of Genesis 20. And they said unto Masha, speak thou with us. Let's go back. Jump in the gun here. Let's go to verse 18. Let's go to verse 18. And all the people saw the thundering and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. Again, let me say this one thing to y'all, because you might not heard me. And all the people saw the lightning, the thundering, the noise of the trumpet they heard, and the mountain smoking and quaking. When they saw it, they removed themselves. They were stone afraid. They should be rejoicing. They should be jumping. They should be running up and down for joy. But instead, they were afraid. And they said unto Moses, speak with us, and we will hear, but not let God, Yahweh, speak with us, lest we die. And that's why you haven't heard the voice of God. That's why you don't hear him. Because we're going to die if we hear his voice. So that's where a mediator comes in. This is from that time on. A mediator comes in. For God is come to prove you. When Moses says, and Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you, to test you, and that his fear may be before your face, that you sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was, Yahweh was. And Yahweh said unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yahushael, you have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offering, and thy peace offering, and thy sheep, and thy oxen. In all place where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. Where's the sacrifice today? Where's your offering today? He changed? Has God changed? No, he sent Jesus to die for you, so you don't have to do those things no more. He doesn't change that. Wherever his name is, an offering is required, and not a human sacrifice. The Creator does not accept human sacrifice. As a matter of fact, he told us not to do that. Do not offer your babies up. My soul cannot save you. I can't die for you. So he's going to send his own son to die for you? Come on, man. And so from that point on, we have a prophet, we have a mediator, and Masha becomes the first prophet. What did he say to the prophet Amos? He said to Amos, he says, surely Yahweh will do nothing but to reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophet. That's where his secret is. You want to know the truth? Got to go to the prophet. And you're encouraged not to really read the Old Testament because it's done away with, they tell you. You know why they tell you that? Because they want to control you with the writings of Paul. They want to control you. 80% of the New Testament is written by Paul. And so he's reestablishing his people. So that leads us up to today. 1619. The first slave entered the United States of America. And they were enslaved and treated. And from America shipped all over the world. And if you don't know it by now, like I said, America is the king of the world. They're the ones that police everyone. You think the British control America? America control the British. America becomes a superpower. No country on a continent on this planet can stand up to America. America is the king of the world in the sight of in their own eyes. The baddest nation on the planet. And all the enslavement is through America. That's why we know that America is going to be the first to receive the wrath of Yahweh. And that's where the train reaction is going to be. What you see in California is happening in California is nothing comparing to what's going to happen, what's coming. And our people were shipped from Africa. Africans are brothers, are twin brothers. They're the first to sell us into slavery. We're sold into slavery by our brothers. First one to sell us to slavery. And the Spaniards got a hold of us, and then they make up. And then the Portuguese, and then the British. And the rest is history as we know it. But the 400 years has come. The Creator is once again going to remove his people, a remnant though, very small amount of people. That hear the name Yahweh, understand who we are, understand who he is, understand who owns this earth. This Creator who is dealing with his people once again is going to take his people and bring them here where he's going to nourish us for times and half time, according to Daniel and Revelation. And here is where we're going to renew our power to become a nation once again that worships the Creator under his government, by his laws, statutes, decrees, and covenants. And he's going to devastate the world. So, the warning for you is that you must leave America and its allies. And you must come to Cebu, Philippines. This is where he commissioned us together in the Isles of the Sea. I was watching a video on YouTube, and you hear white people now are crying out for hard times. They're making all this money and they can't make ends meet. They finally found out that they were used as well. They finally are at the place where us black people have suffered for thousands of years. They're finally getting a taste, and they still haven't suffered like us. But if you read Revelation 12, I'm going to close with Revelation 18. Let me close with that. Revelation 18. There's so much scriptures here where he tells us to get out. But I want to read Revelation 18 to you. Revelation 18. Revelation 18. Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. no one is coming to save you, not from heaven nor from earth. You must save yourself. And how you save yourself is you must come out of her. Watch this. Verse 5, for her sins have reached unto the heavens, for her sin have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh has remembered her lawlessness, iniquities, rewarding her even as she rewards you. What? The Creator is going to do to these cities and these people a double portion of what they did to you. Where it says here, make no mistake, guys. Rewarding her even as she reward you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she has filled to her double. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. Deliciously what? Of you. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit as queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plague come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she will be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judge her. If you think this is not going to happen, you have another thing coming. If you think this is not going to happen, you have another thing coming. So, you got to come out. Come spring this year, I believe the windows of opportunity is going to close for you. The windows of opportunity is going to close for you. You may never make it out. But who am I? I'm no prophet. I'm just a voice. I'm just the one who have come down. I'm coming to you live from Cebu, Philippines. And I'm watching from this side. I'm not going to wait over there to see if it's going to happen. I'm going to assemble where you tell me to assemble. And that's why I'm here. So, you do whatever you want. I gave you the message. After spring of this year, I will not be preaching and teaching anymore. I'm only continuing to do this because there's still time for you. There is still time for you. But you must move now. Because we don't know when the windows of opportunity is going to close. SARS virus is coming, different viruses coming. When they shut this place down, like they did in the pandemic, you're not going to be able to travel. You're not going to be able. And if you come here by boat, you're definitely not part of the remnant. Because it says it was given wings. You must fly on an airplane. You must come by wings. You were given wings like an eagle. Revelation 12 and verse 14. And the woman was given 2 wings like an eagle. So you can't come here on helicopter either. It must be wings like an eagle. The woman was given 2 wings like an eagle, where she will fly into the wilderness. There she'll be nourished for a time and a half. The next 98 years is going to be something to it. This is not the end of the world, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beginning of pain and famine. The Creator is resetting the world because He's setting the stage for His people to have His covenant so that we can go back and take the land from which He promised to give us. He said to Abraham, I am going to give your seed this land. Know for certain your seed shall be in a land not their own, and they'll be enslaved 400 years. We're the one that's going to get it. So, will you be part of the remnant? Or will you be part of Yahushua that got left behind? Will you be part of the remnant? Or will you be part that get destroyed? Choice is yours. All right, I'm out. I'm out, man. I love you. I'm Maker Alban Aaron of Yahushua. Of course, this is Truth Matters Broadcasting. Please check out my YouTube channel, now living in the Philippines. Like it. I want to get to 10,000. Help a brother out that way. Get to 10,000, so more people can see and hear what you're hearing today. The choice is really yours. The choice is really yours. You can believe, don't believe, that's up to you. But until then, go check out the Ravenous Bird. We do have a prophet among us. Go check out the Ravenous Bird on YouTube. Please go check out. Please, I almost want to beg you, but I'm not. Check out the Ravenous Bird on YouTube. The Ravenous Bird. And check out True Name of the Creator. Now, True Name of the Creator and Leave on Wings. This is very, very serious. The name and Leave on Wings. Then you can watch Brought by Ships so that you can see your lineage and so on and so forth. But check out that and then you decide.